Well, today is the 31st video of our Adventures in Prosperity. And through these Facebook Live videos, I have been spending some time exploring the principles of prosperity as outlined by Wallace Wattles in his book, The Science of Getting Rich. And as I was reading over the very last chapter of this book, I was beginning to wonder, what more could I say? And who am I? I'm Alan Vukas, and I'm so glad that you could join me here in this Facebook Live as we discuss some of the principles of prosperity. And as I sort of give an overview here of what Wallace Wattles is talking about in his book. As I was reading the final chapter, chapter 17, which is the summary of the science of getting rich, as I was reading through this is a wonderful chapter. It's very short. It's only a couple pages, 1, 2, 3 pages, and I mean very short pages at that, more like an essay. But in this chapter, Wallace Wattles gives a summary of the high-level points that he has laid out earlier in his book. And as I was reading this, I was thinking, well, what points from here could I share and elaborate on or discuss or ruminate about? And I would have to read the whole chapter. And then I thought, well, I don't want to be here on video. You don't want to be watching me watch video. But let's just step through some of the points, though, the basic points of the science of getting rich. And why am I doing this? Because here he says, the very last paragraph, Wallace Wattles writes in his book, the men and women who practice the foregoing instructions will certainly get rich. And the riches they receive will be in exact proportion to the definiteness of their vision, the fixity of their purpose, the steadiness of their faith, and the depth of their gratitude. There are 4 things that he says that are needed in order for us to get rich. The parts that we provide. But the parts that we provide in this equation of getting rich, in this science, the parts that we bring is our vision. It is our purpose. It is our gratitude. It is also our faith. But I'll come back to this here as I wrap it up. But what are the parts that we're playing with? When we bring our vision, our purpose, our gratitude, and our faith into everything that we do, then what is it that we're working with? What is the other piece, the other side? If you haven't watched any of the other Facebook Lives or even have read Wallace Wattles' books, I want to answer that question for you. And he outlines throughout the book that we are surrounded. There is all around us this thinking substance, this formless substance. He says here at the beginning of 116, there is a thinking stuff. I even like that word better. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. Do you know this thinking stuff? Ernest Holmes, he describes this thinking stuff in the book, The Science of Mind. He calls it the thing itself. There is this one life, this one presence, this one intelligence, this field of intelligence, which is around everything, it is in everything, it is through everything, because everything is made out of it. It created or extended itself into all of the forms which we see. And because we are made of it, we can form a thing in our thought. And this substance, this thinking stuff, which we're part of, it knows how to take that thought and clothe it with form. And we can, he says here, man can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. And while he says that we can cause, how I like to think about it is instead that by us having the thought, allowing that thought to emerge and holding that thought, then we don't cause the thing that we think about to be created. It is this thinking substance that then, by us holding the thought, we are giving direction. It is opening a channel by which substance can emerge in us, through us, and into our life. You see, our thoughts, the image, the vision that we have are actually windows. They are vortexes or portals that we are establishing by which this thinking substance then can flow and express in form. Isn't that powerful? So the vision that you have, the life that you would love to be, do, and have, if maybe in your relationships, maybe there is something that isn't working, the more attention that you give to it not working, then what you're in fact doing is creating space for substance to flow energy into that as your experience. So if it wasn't working when you started looking at it, and you begin to dig into why it isn't working and how much it isn't working and how painful and stressful it is, and you blog about it and tell your friends about it and commiserate about how bad it is. Thinking, and why we do this is because we think that maybe someone will rescue us, it will change, it will somehow make things different, but it doesn't. What it does is it creates energy around that, and this thinking substance then fills in the vortex, the view, the image, the space that we have created in time and space. It fills it and makes it so. So if our experience wasn't bad to begin with, the more that we looked at something unwanted and declared it as bad and got a clear, specific, what does he say at the very end? Our part is the specificity, the definiteness, definiteness of our vision, and then the fixity of our purpose, the steadiness of our faith. We bring three things. We may not be grateful, but if we bring a definite vision, this is not working. Fixed on our purpose, we're not moving from that. We're letting it go. We are very clear that that is not working. No one can convince us anything other than that. And the steadiness of our faith, it's not going to change. You see, we use it all the time. We use this science. We use these principles, but not in the way that supports us. So this is why you take time every day. This is why it's important to take time every day to contemplate these principles, to match it up against how we're actually living our lives. And in so doing, then maybe make a little step to the left or a little step to the right to see it a little differently, using our will to look at it differently, to choose to use our mind differently, so that we can then use the science of getting rich to actually get rich, and that's however you define it. I wanted to read to you the next to the last paragraph here as we close this series. Here's what he says. He says, in order to receive your own, when it shall come to him, man must be active, and this activity can only consist in more than filling his present place. He must keep in mind the purpose to get rich through the realization of his mental image. If you have an image in your mind of what you would love, then have that as your purpose. What is that going to cause for you to feel? How are you going to feel in having it? And then be determined that this is mine, and the actions I'm doing right now are in service to that dream. They are in service to this vision. They're in service to my life. He must keep in mind the purpose to get rich through the realization of his mental image, and he must do every day all that can be done that day, taking care to do each act in a successful manner. That doesn't mean that what you've set out to accomplish, if you don't accomplish that, then it's not successful. It is the attitude that you bring. It is the intention that you bring, the power that you bring into every act that you do, that right here and now, what I'm doing right now, this is in service to my dream. And I am so happy and grateful that I have an opportunity to do something right here and now in service of my life. For me to have, to be, to do what I am here, my purpose. What does he go on and says? He says, he must give to every man a use value in excess of the cash value he receives, so that each transaction makes for more life. Let me just pause right there. What does that mean? Give a use value in excess of cash value. Do you know as we embark on living our vision, the having, the being, the doing of the life we would love to live, then every action that we take, every interaction, every transaction between us and another person, us and another living being, us and just the way that we show up, that we are giving more. We are leaving things. We're leaving individuals in conversations that they feel better than they felt when we first encountered them. This is what that means, that we are actually leaving things in a better situation. Do you know, I recently moved out of a house I was renting. And when I had moved in, it's the person who had been subletting the house previously. It was a mess. The house was a mess. It was squalor. And we actually had to bring in a dumpster or two and clear out the trash, so that then it was in a situation where I could actually then work to clean it. And to clean the house and to move in and to live there. And so I just recently moved out of there, just about 2 months ago. And I will tell you, I was determined. It was my desire. It was my intention. And actually, I realized that the house was going to be cleaner than how I found it. It was going to be in a better state than how I found it. And this is the same attitude with which we should bring into every transaction, every interaction that we do. This is what he means by giving more use value than cash value. We should take care of it. We better than if someone lends us something, then we should take better care of it than we would our own items. If we're at a checkout in a store, and someone is checking out our items that we're purchasing, then we should give them a better attention. They say, hello, how are you? Did you find everything? Then let us be truly interested in that question. They asked us a question. Then how are you? I'm doing great. How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's extend more good. Let us release more good. Because here's how it works. What we give, we receive. And so many times people, and when they are embarking on developing a prosperity consciousness, they go, well, you know what? It's easy. It'll be easier for me to have a prosperity consciousness if I had more. I could give more if I had more. And that's not the way it works. A fireplace gives heat after it has received wood. And it is the same for us. We have received life. We have received love. There is so much that we've received, and while it may feel like, well, I don't have it right now, we can generate that at any time. We can use the power of our memory, the faculty of our memory, to generate and to move in time and space within, to move to that place, that awareness where it is alive, where we know that there is love, we know that there is life, and that is what we should allow to flow out in a greater way. And when we show up in a greater way, then life shows up to us in a greater way. Let me just finish this paragraph here. He must so hold the advancing thought that the impression of increase will be communicated to all with whom he comes in contact. This advancing thought, this has been going through my mind all week long, is that I want to be an advancing man. I want to have the advancing thought. I want to know that where I am right now, and not even to know this, but to live it. Because I know it. I want to live it. I know it up here. I want to know it from here, that I express it, that each and every moment, that right here, this is what it looks like while it is working out. This right here is in service to my dream. And let me play bigger. Let me show up bigger. Let me flow out more gratitude, more faith, more purpose, more vision. Because as I move through this, it sets up the next stage on which I will play. And life is bringing to us our good in each and every moment. Well, this is going to be the last Facebook Live specifically on this book, The Science of Getting Rich. And I want to close this with an affirmative prayer with one of my favorite authors, Derek Rydell. He calls it a quantum activation. I want to activate this. Because here, join me in knowing this right here and now. As we've been discussing over these past 31 videos, we have been discussing that there is this thinking substance, and that's what I know. There is this thinking stuff that is all around me. It is in me. It is through me. It is as me right here in this moment. And in every moment, I don't have to make it so. It already is. What it is waiting for is for me to recognize it. And I recognize that right here and now. I recognize that everything in my life, every situation, every relationship, every interaction, every scenario and condition and circumstance, all of it is an outpicturing of my collaboration with life up till now. I have held thoughts in mind, images in my mind of experiences. I have held even up till now. I have held even feelings of where I thought that I was cut off. And in so doing, the thinking stuff then said, "Oh, you're cut off. Well, here is more cut off." And so it becomes whatever I think about. Thoughts become things. This is what I recognize here today, and that I'm not alone. It isn't just dependent on my thought. Life is working with me. It is working through me, as me. And so what I know here today, what I recognize and know as the truth for me and for you, is that I not only have the means, I also have the ability, I have the power, I have the wherewithal within me and around me to have a clear vision of what I would love to be, do, and have. Clarity exists in the mind of God. Clarity exists in this divine mind, in this field of intelligence. There is clarity. And so anything that I may have, any excuse I might have had to say, oh, that I'm confused, or I'm uncertain, or I have doubt. That does not exist in divine mind. And so what I know and realize right here and now is that there is no doubt. There is no uncertainty. There is no confusion in that mind, and that mind is my mind. That mind is your mind. And so what the truth is today, there is no doubt, no confusion, no uncertainty. There is absolute clarity operating in that mind, our mind, my mind today. And from that clarity, what I know is that the vision that is within me, it is moving me, it is guiding me, it is directing me, and here in this moment, I have an advancing thought. Life is lighting up for me at every turn, the direction for me to go. Because I'm not on this journey alone. I have a thought, and life is seeking to make those thoughts into things. And so I am open, and I receive that guidance today. I release any resistance to this journey of me getting rich, however I define it. I release the resistance. I surrender. I embrace what is in front of me today, because I know what is here today is life moving me into my next and better and greater good. And it unfolds easily and effortlessly and nothing can stand in my way. No thing can stand in my way, because there is only this thinking stuff of which I am a part. And me as that, and that as me, we step into the greater vision of love and light and life. This is the truth. I know that my richness, the desires of my heart is mine by divine birthright. What is the desires of your heart is yours by divine birthright. Not in some far off distant time, but right here and now. I claim it. I affirm it. I know it is true. And so it is. I've really enjoyed doing these Facebook Lives with you over this about the science of getting rich. I'm exploring some other books, and actually am working on a podcast right now, which will have some daily audios that it might be a little easier to listen to on the go versus watching on your phone. But there's some. Stay tuned. Like the page if you haven't liked it yet, so that you can be notified of things as they happen, as they're going on. There's a lot of things in this whole experiment for myself, or not experiment, but this journey that I'm on and that I'm sharing with you. It has raised a lot of ideas. It has brought a lot of energy to what is mine to do and what is next to do. So I look forward to continuing to share this journey with you, and as we go along. Peace and love. Namaste.